What's up guys, this is Matt and today I'm going to be doing some sort of live benchmarks on my personal rig, my 12-core workstation, which is sitting right there. But before I get into the video, I'm going to give you guys a brief overview of exactly what's in the system for those of you that don't know. So my PC is rocking a Haswell E5 V3 Xeon that has 12 cores and 24 threads. The CPU is an early stepping, so I got it for a really good deal on eBay. The one caveat is that it only goes up to 2.5 GHz, which isn't great for gaming. The CPU is sitting inside of an EVGA X99 Micro 2 motherboard with 16 GB of DDR4 memory at 2400 MHz. For graphics, I've got an EVGA GTX 1060 3GB. For storage, I've got an OCZ VX500 for my boot drive and an RD400 as a scratch disk for video editing. I need to figure out a solution for mass storage soon though, and all of this is inside of the Corsaid Obsidian 350D Micro ATX case. So yeah, now that you know what my system is rocking, let's get right into the benchmarks. Alright guys, so here we are at my PC and I'm just going to be running through a few different benchmarks to show you guys exactly how this performs. And I think what I'm going to start off with is Cinebench, just to show you how powerful this 12-core processor is that I got for such a low price. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Cinebench right here. And if you guys have ever run Cinebench on like a low-end system, you'll know that this picture will load in pretty slow, but I'll show you how fast this loads in. So here we go, I just hit run and it's going to run it right now. Alright, so we are done, and as you may or may not be able to see, I'll definitely put this as like a screenshot in the video. My system scored a 1456 for the CPU, which is pretty incredible, especially when you consider the price that I paid for the CPU. Let's just look up how high say like a 5960X does. Alright, so I found the score for the i7 5960X. As far as I know, this isn't overclocked, but it scores a 1337, and as you saw, my system scored a 1456. So this actually beats a 5960X running at stock, a $1,000 processor, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, let's move on to another benchmark. Alright, so now I'm going to open 3D Mark. I haven't run 3D Mark Firestrike on the system, so it should be interesting to see how well it performs and stacks up against all of the other systems. This does have a GTX 1060 3GB, so it's not going to be the most powerful gaming PC, but and that's not really what its intended main purpose is to do. Yes, you can game on it, but the main purpose is video editing. So it's going to be interesting to see how it stacks up. So yeah, I'm going to run Firestrike right now. Alright guys, so as you can see, the results are in. The Firestrike score that I got was a 9,613. The graphics score is 10,898. The physics score is 13,498. And the combined score is 4,151. So I'm going to see if I can compare this. Yeah, compare results online. So how does this compare? This is better than about 70% of all results, which I'm pretty happy with. Apparently it's just barely above the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift minimum specs, which that's also pretty good. It's good enough for VR apparently, which is cool. And yeah, that is this results. Alright guys, so now that I've done some synthetic benchmarks, what I'm going to do now is run a couple games for you guys with Fraps up in the corner so you can see how this system performs in some games, especially seeing that the GPU only has 3 GB of graphics memory running on an ultra-wide monitor. So the first game I'm going to test is the game I play the most, which is Overwatch. Alright guys, so what I did was set the settings to graphical quality of Ultra. Now, the thing that sucks about Overwatch is it doesn't support ultra-wide 1440p, so this is only going to be in regular 1440p. I set the frame rate cap to custom to 300 just so I can see how high it'll go. I'm not sure if it'll go above my monitor's refresh rate, but we'll see. Let's do it. So right now I'm just loading up a quick play match and we'll see how it performs. Alright, so out of the gate it looks like the frame rate is hovering in the upper 70s at 1440p on ultra settings, but we're gonna see how that is when we get into the game. Now keep in mind this is only a 60 Hz monitor, so anything above 60, as long as it's staying at or above 60, I'm happy.
Get over here and heal up.
So yeah, it looks like it's staying above 70 in the about low 70 FPS during gameplay, which is pretty good. So yeah, it's staying at an average in the low to mid 70s while playing, which is really good, seeing that it's at 1440p ultra settings with only 3 gigs of VRAM and a relatively low clock Xeon. Alright guys, so now what I'm going to do is load up GTA 5, which does run in ultra wide and is a notorious VRAM hog, so we're going to see how the 1063GB card works in this game. So let's get to it. So I think what I'm going to do is load up the first mission in the game because it's a really consistent thing and I run that a lot. That's usually what I run to benchmark it if I'm not using the built-in benchmark, which the built-in benchmark is nice, but it's also nice to just see the performance you're going to get in the actual game. So I've got the graphics up right here. I'll be displaying like a digital image of them while this is playing, and I'm just gonna run through them really quick with you guys. So I am running at full 3440 by 1440. I don't know why that's windowed borderless. Let's go to full screen. So yeah, moving down to this stuff, I've got population density, variety, and distance scaling basically turned all the way up. Texture quality is on high, shader quality very high. As you can see, this is a mixture between high and very high settings. I don't have any of the advanced graphics options turned on, and as you can see, this is only going to use 2.5 gigabytes of video memory, so the 3 gigs in the 1060 should work perfectly fine. Now I have the FPS running right up there, and I'll make sure to zoom in on that while the game is playing to show you guys exactly what FPS I'm getting. So once again, this is running at 3440 by 1440p, a mixture between high and very high setting, or a mixture between high and very high settings. So let's see exactly how it performs. Guys, so I've got the game loaded up, just standing right here. Now something to keep in mind is I am recording using shadow play, so that's going to take a slight hit to performance, but at the most it's going to be 5 to 10%. This is going to be mostly how it's going to perform without recording. And just standing here moving around, we're sitting at around 50 FPS, so I am going to run over to the car, get into it, and start driving. So here we go, and actually driving, we're still in the mid 50s it looks like, which is really good. And the game at these settings looks really nice. Bumping the settings up a lot more than this, ooh, we just dipped a little bit below 50. But yeah, like I was saying, bumping up the settings much more than this, you're not gonna get that much more visual quality, and you're gonna take a huge hit in performance. But yeah, as you can see, we are sitting between about mid 40s to low 50s average, so right around 50 FPS average. So bumping the settings down a little bit, you could definitely get a 60 FPS average at 3440 by 1440p on the GTX 1063GB, which is pretty interesting. Also, the CPU definitely isn't the best. If I had something like a 6600K, this would be performing much better, just because GTA 5, like basically every other game, can't take advantage of more than 4 cores. So it's only taking advantage of 4 cores of the slow 2.5 gigahertz processor, Whereas if we had something running at like 4.5 gigahertz, this game would be running a fair amount better. But even with all of that kind of going against us, running at 50 FPS average, high settings, 30 ultra wide 1440p, I think this is doing really well, and I think this is more than playable. This is enjoyable, and yeah, I'd probably just leave it at these settings. 60 FPS isn't like a must for me, but obviously if you wanted 60 FPS, you could always just turn a few things down and get that. This wraps this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I just wanted to show you exactly how this PC performs in both some synthetic benchmarks and games, and as you guys can see, it performs really well even for having a graphics card that only has 3 gigabytes. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, as well as consider subscribing for more PC and tech related content in the future. And as always, this is Matt from Tech by Matt, signing out.